Hi, this is Alex Garfin from Superman and Lois, and this is Spoiler Country.
In a world of podcasts, one rises in the night to destroy them all. The elder god in an ocean of noise, the Cthulhu of the airwaves. This is Spoiler Country.
Hello, listeners of Spoiler Country. Today on the show, we have the fantastic actor, Mr. Alex Garfin. How's it going, sir?
It's going great.
I'm a big fan of yours. Superman and Lois is a wonderful show.
I'm glad you're enjoying. Yeah, it's a really cool show.
So when did you decide you wanted to be in?
I've been acting since I was around 2 years old, but I definitely got a lot more into it around, freshman and sophomore year of high school. I went to LaGuardia Arts High School, so that kind of was a community for all of that. And then over the summers, actually, I really started to fall in love with it. And then I ended up doing off-Broadway theater for a long time. I was doing this play called Fear. It was really cool. And then it springboarded into this, and now I'm here. Let's go. Lasers out of my eyes.
So how did you end up going to your high school and music and art high school?
Well, so there's a large audition process. I have a tag I'm being told. Honestly, keep that in. It's actually great. So in order to get into LaGuardia Arts, there's an audition process. In New York City, getting into high school is a lot like getting into college everywhere else. After you graduate middle school, or actually in, I believe, the 8th grade year, you apply to all these schools and you hopefully get into places. There are 7 large schools that you have to actually take this large little IQ test kind of thing called the SHSAT. Either way, it's a pain for everyone in 8th grade, but LaGuardia is very different. So it's the 8th specialized high school that you don't need the test for, because what you do is you go and you sit in this basement for like 20 hours while all these other kids are auditioning, and eventually you get your shot. 3,000 kids try out, 90 get in every year.
Wow.
To the drama program. So it's really exclusive, but it's really, really awesome. We have some great alums. Most recently I've come out, but I think 5 years before me was Timothy Chalamet. 2 years before him was Ansel Elgort. Jarrell Jerome was somewhere between me and Timmy. Either way, it's a really cool place.
Sounds like it must have been extremely competitive. Were you guys tight as a group, or was a lot of pressure when you're at the high school? How did that work?
Well, the high school can be conducive to some pressure, but especially in the drama department, all the kids come together. And honestly, that's the magic of the school. We have great teachers, and, we have a whole staff and all of that. But really, at the end of the day, it's the fact that you can have kids from every background that are chosen just based off their merit, that all can learn off each other. So honestly, I felt like I learned 10 times more from all the other kids and watching what than actually the teachers themselves. And the best teachers there would allow that to happen and actually be very skilled at bringing the kids together. So it was a pretty close-knit group.
Now, did I read correctly? You just graduated June of this year?
Yeah.
Congratulations. That must have been awesome.
Thank you very much.
Well done. How does that feel?
Oh my God, it feels good, man. So when I was shooting this first season of Superman, I was also going to school. So it was an incredible schedule of trying to make sure everything gets done. And also because I was still in school, I only had limited hours I could be on set, meaning that I had less tries to do my coverage than other people and whatnot. And sometimes it's a photo double. That's a cool little piece of BTS as well. A lot of the times when it's far away, it will be Tyler, Bitsy, Jordan, and then another guy with my hair. So the fact that I used to have to wake up at like 5 a.m., go to school until maybe like 9, and then I would rush down to set and be working. While doing set work, I'd be rushing back to the tent and doing homework. And so, it was kind of like at the gym when you're supersetting.
Yeah.
And instead of just doing, you're doing arms, right? And then instead of taking your break, I'd have to run over and start doing legs. So I'm kind of glad that's over, and I'm really happy and looking forward to season 2. I just got the lowdown of season 2.
Yeah.
It's really good.
So I assume you can give a huge amount of spoilers to the show about what happens in season 2.
I could get fired like that. I could get myself fired so quickly. I'm very skilled at it too.
That'd be a horrible way to have this interview. But yeah, this is an interview where I got Alex Garfin fired from his show. It'd be memorable for me, but probably horrible for you. So were you a comic book fan before you got the role of Superman and Lois?
You know, I was a big Star Trek fan. I was a big Trekkie. I watched every single one of those series, I think, 3 times, especially as a kid growing up. It was just something I did over and over. That and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia were just my 2 things growing up. Actual comic books themselves, for some reason, I never got too much into. So I kind of understand the fandom. I definitely understand like the whole psychology of it all from being such a big Star Trek fan. And now I'm starting to get into all that comic book stuff through this. I started to do like some research and whatnot. And you know, I'm enjoying it a lot. I think it's really cool.
As a fellow Trekkie, I totally respect that. 2 weeks ago, I got to interview Tim Russ from Star Trek Voyager, and he's so cool. He's a musician.
It's cool.
I didn't even know that. So how did the role of Jordan Kent come along for you? How did you first hear about it? And when you got the role, what did they first tell you about the character?
So I first heard about it actually for going out. I actually went out for Jonathan first, and in the audition room, I put down the script. I was like, I'm sorry, I can't. I've never held a football. You're looking at me. I was scrawnier then than I was now. It was just not a conducive situation. So they actually gave me the script, the audition script for Jordan. It's not actually a script in the pilot, but I just really clicked with this character. When I first read the pilot, I believe I was actually getting on the plane back from the screen test. No, getting on the plane towards the screen test. That's correct. I was getting on the plane towards the screen test, and reading the pilot, I realized it was going to be something good. You know, it just felt very different than the rest of the Arrowverse. And I think a lot of the people up at the production company and Warner Brothers and whatnot have told me very similar things. I just got to meet plenty of them. They're all awesome. That they were expecting one thing, and then when they read the pilot or saw the pilot, depending on what their job is, their expectations were definitely blown. And I had the same experience on the plane, and I knew on the way over there that I was just going to have to give it my all to try to get this one because it's really good.
Now you have to admit, and that Jordan is so much cooler than Jonathan. You got the right role. You got the perfect one because it's just the cooler character. You have to admit.
I can't because you know what? Jonathan has so much cool stuff going on in season 2.
Yeah.
Also, he has a whole storyline in season 2 also. And also, I feel like one can't be one without the other.
Okay.
Jordan has his pitfalls in that he can be erratic, and Jonathan is just very, very much just the positive guy. And he's always getting kicked around too, like especially first season. He's always. I think I saw a meme of like it was like some sort of like AI analyzing Jonathan. It was like Jonathan Kent, human Kryptonian hybrid, strengths, very nice, weaknesses, weak arms.
Well, he's nice is a good strength to have. He's nice. That's a nice little strength.
Honestly, I think it makes people love him, and I think the whole season he was definitely the underdog character that people could really grasp onto. Jordan, though, is also really awesome. The thing about Jordan is that I love the opportunity to try to portray mental illness in a way that it isn't just, in your face. It's not necessarily put on the back burner, but like most people that suffer with mental illness, it's just, I always say it's just a color on the painting instead of the whole hue.
Now one thing I do love about the show is that it's such a family-oriented program. I mean, you and John do so well together, and your scenes are great. And obviously, you have obviously the best parents on Lois and Superman. But on the set, how have you guys fostered that kind of family feel? Because you guys feel like a family. I mean, when you watch the show, you just there's part of your brain that knows they're acting, but part of your brain's almost like, wow, they are a family. How do you guys pull that off?
Oh, first of all, thank you very much. I mean, especially between Jordan, who plays Jonathan, and I, we're very close in real life. When we were up there, we weren't really even allowed to talk to anyone else because of COVID. Didn't want to bring COVID to set. So him and I would hang out every single day, all day. We eventually kind of just became like real brothers. The dynamic is really different just because I'm very different than Jordan. He's somewhat similar to Jonathan, but I'm very different than Jordan. But I think that natural energy, it's a lot like acting itself, where you take your natural energy and channel it and put it out to this character. I think the natural energy between us got channeled and put out to this very different dynamic that they have on screen. As for Tyler and Bitsy, I mean, they're just phenomenal in every sense of the word. Bitsy is so much like Lois Lane, it's ridiculous. And Tyler, I think, might actually be Superman on the down low. Just on the down low. The guy is constantly working his butt off, and he is never never anything besides just awesome all the time, and gracious and kind. And I cannot say enough good things about both of them. So I'm really glad that it's working out on screen. I'm glad you're noticing all of that. You know, I owe a lot to both Tyler and Bitsy, and also I just have a great relationship with Jordan.
Well, the other thing I thought was really cool about your character, and the school that I teach at a therapeutic high school, and a lot of my students have anxiety. And one of the things that Jordan was dealing with in the show is anxiety as well. How do you incorporate that into your character when you're acting?
You know, like I was saying before, it was one of my goals, and also I believe the writers as well, that it was an aspect of Jordan, and that it's a person dealing with this thing rather than a person who necessarily is branded with this thing, or it's not necessarily the first thing you can even notice about him, which is great, because in the end of the day, that's a realistic portrayal of it, at least in my experiences and the experiences of people I talk to. It's something that's there. Something that you got to deal with, and I absolutely love the idea that I get to portray that for this community. I think it's great, and I think right now it's the pandemic. We were locked inside. We were told everyone's gonna die for like a full 3 months, and then we were like, okay, not everyone's gonna die, but we're all gonna be really bored and gonna just eat a lot of chips and sit around.
Yeah.
And we were all like, all right, you know what? That's not bad. And then like month 8 of that, we all like, oh my God. Make it stop. So either way, in this unpredictable world, I think a lot of times unpredictability begets anxiety, because all of a sudden there's insecurity in their future. So I think it's a great story to be telling, that this shy kid with anxiety all of a sudden moves to this small town, and all of a sudden he felt seen and heard by this girl, and all of a sudden he realizes that he's different, and all of a sudden he realizes all these things about his own self and his own heritage, and you get to see him regress, and you get to see him start to become a little super. And I think that's really cool.
I think it's so cool. I mean, since, like I said, as you mentioned, a lot of your fans probably do suffer from anxiety. Have you heard from them saying, thank you for the betrayal. It helps me feel stronger just watching how this character was able to, overcome it?
Yeah. And I hear that often, and it always means a lot every single time. I think I got to go to GalaxyCon over in Raleigh and really start meeting the fans. It was the only con I've gotten to do just because of COVID, but it was kind of in that lull between Alpha and Delta. We're back in it. Either way, I got to meet a lot of the fans, and it was really awesome. Not only did I get to meet people that had social anxiety issues or any sort of spectrum issues as well. I mean, and getting to connect with those people and getting to hear that what I'm doing is working, and what I set out to do, which is, again, just do this realistic portrayal that hopefully brings people in, is working. But also I got a lot of families coming up to my tent, and Tyler and Bitsy's tent, and the fact that, they're like, the generations now are much more far apart than they were even 50 years ago. The landscape is changing so rapidly year by year. So the fact that they were all like, me and my teenage sons can't agree on anything. He's always on his phone on TikTok or whatever, but we all sit down and enjoy your show for different reasons is incredible. The fact that the writers have been able to pull that off, the directing team, and everyone just put their back into it enough that we pulled that off, is really magical. And it's another thing that when I hear it, I feel like everything's working.
I totally agree. I watched your show. My father, who's obviously much older than all of us, watches the show as well, and they both love it. And like I said, I think because it feels so much like a Superman show, and not only is it a Superman show, but like I said, that family aspect is so present. And and I'm sure there was some skeptics about having the two sons, because everyone knows the comic book, he has the one kid, but it just works perfectly. I mean, you watch your character Jordan and how you portray, and you think, he needs to be in the comic book now. Why is he not in the comic book right this second? He needs to be incorporated immediately. No worries. So are you think you're going to be doing more conventions now? I mean, once this whole COVID thing eventually either ends, I guess maybe subsides is more better word than ends, because it's probably never going to end at this point.
Yeah, I look forward to doing more conventions. I had a lot of fun meeting the fans. I also got to meet some of my heroes and stuff. Like I got to meet William Shatner.
Oh, nice,
really cool.
Nice.
Yeah. He's doing. I think I actually posted it on my Instagram. An old hero is a new friend. Oh, I stayed away from doing it too much. Although I was talking to him about like like stuff I thought I'd never be talking to William Shatner about. I was talking to him about like dysentery and medieval Europe.
That's an odd little exchange. Dysentery.
It was just, a normal day, I guess, with William Shatner. I don't really know.
So basically,
but I am going to England in 2022. Those are confirmed way ahead, just because they're so far away. There will be plenty more between then and now, I'm sure.
So you're gonna find a way to incorporate William Shatner now into Superman and Lois. Is he gonna end up being like the great great grandfather of?
He should just come down, just knock on the door, and be like, "You got a new member of the family."
That'd be awesome.
That's Angus McFadden's joke, actually. The Jor-El, after they like crushed his crystal and it looks like he passed. He's like, I still need some money. What if I? He doesn't need any money. He has plenty of money, but old Grandpa Jor-El just comes knocking on the door one day. Hey! They start playing the theme music. Da, 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 da. Grandpa Jor-El. I'm going on and on.
No, but it's the world of superheroes. Anything can happen. Jor-El can come up and, he's a hologram, something that pops out of your television. Who knows? Doesn't matter. We'll all buy into it.
I love all the names they come up with for the kids to call Jor-El. It's never Jor-El. It's always like Hologramps. Elsa's Ice Castle. I remember that was one of them. Or Jor-El DeBarge. The Jor-El DeBarge awesome. They use a lot. They really, they never respect their grandfather very much.
Of course not. They're kids.
Why would, if I had a holographic grandfather, I think that would probably be the most, even though he's Kryptonian, I still think the fact that my grandpa is a hologram is that's actually a joke I use every once in a while. Like when I live in New York City, there's a lot of rats. And someone's like, "Oh my God, it's a rat." I'm like, "Oh, my granduncle was a rat." I always say that. Very stupid. There's a mosquito in the room. I'm trying to spot it. Oh, my grandfather was a mosquito there.
Well, it would be
awkward. I don't know.
No, but it would be awkward during family get-togethers. Oh, and that at the chair is my holographic grandpa.
Oh, my actual and then they're like, "Which uncle you mean? Me?" I'm like, no, I was just making the joke and.
But no. But I mean, one thing I thought was really cool about the show that you've gone to do, and I talked to you, I am very envious of what you've been able to do on that show. You got to fight Superman. And that's pretty bad. I mean, there's not many people on their resume, especially as a teenager, who can say, I smacked around not only my Superman, but my father apparently as well, which must have been awkward at that moment.
Doing all that stuff with Zeta Rho was so much fun. It's a lot. You get that excitement, especially as an actor, of a new project. And I tend to try to bottle that excitement and try to use it for every episode so that each episode feels like a progression and it feels like I'm putting my care and work into it. But something about that new character and doing the background work for a new character and trying to suss out the mannerisms of this new character, it was just so much fun to be bad. And to the whole thing was really cool. Also, the voice that they ended up using was really cool. I didn't get to see it until it aired. So it was just weird to see my mouth moving and some other dude talking. and those fight scenes with Tyler were so much fun as well. They were all green screen as well, except the one in the quarry. The one in the quarry, that one, it was so desperately hot that day. It was during that Vancouver heat wave. It was the highest recorded temperature ever recorded in Canada that day. And the light was just blinding my bright eyes because I have green eyes. And it was coming up, and I was just squinting and I'm trying to keep them open for the one little shot. It turned out really badass because Tom Cavanaugh is awesome, who directed episode 15. But oh my God, that was a brutal one to shoot.
So a question I think everyone wants to know: when you were fighting Tyler Superman, did you accidentally land a shot by any chance, or did you accidentally actually hit him at one time by accident?
No, I never accidentally hit him. That kind of stuff does happen eventually. I mean, there's a lot of fighting in the show, but generally it doesn't really happen. We have an amazing stunt team. They're like the pros of the pros of the pros. All the other pros of the pros of the pros. They all look up to them and go, "Wow, you're the pros." So, and then, other guys are going up to those people and saying, "You're the pros." So, I mean, really, there's a pro pyramid here, and our guys are at the top, and they're also really awesome. So a lot of that stuff never happens. My stunt double, Liam, who does all those crazy flips. I mean, he came out of the gate doing crazy stuff. He did that whole thing where he flipped down off the poles and smacked down on the barn, and bulls fell on top of him, and yeah, it was really cool.
Well, it looks really, when you're doing it, it looks really real. I mean, you really do think, Jesus, how are they not hitting each other? It looks totally real. So
it was really, again, and that's due to the directorial skill and the fact that you don't catch on that it's a stunt double. Sorry about that. I think it cut out, but yeah, you don't really catch on that it's a stunt double either in the show. So it's really well done. I'm really proud to be a part of all of this, and I'm proud of all the people in it.
Well, like I said, it's a great show. I know our time's just about up, so I do have just ask one final question. So, and then you're welcome to spoil as much as you wish. What can our listeners look forward to in the next season of Superman and Lois? And also, where I know they can find on the CW. Is it going to keep the same airtime when it comes back?
I don't know. That is a question. I don't know if they decided yet, but I could be wrong. I don't want someone calling me and saying I wasn't. But as for next season, I mean, we can look forward to some things going on, some concrete things. So we're gonna have Supermaning. And then Lois is going to be Loising, and she's going to be, reporting and Loising. Jonathan, going to be Jonathan, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And then Jordan is going to be Jordaning. But, I think there are natural assumptions of what's moving forward. Our showrunner, Todd Helbing, on a different interview, confirms that Jordan is not going to gain all the powers of Zeta Rho. So we look forward to his arc and getting stronger as well if that were to happen next season. And also, he just beat this big mental battlefield. So I think we can assume that he feels a little more confident, at least in his own. So it's going to be a really good season. I really don't want to spoil anything because it has so many crazy twists and turns and so many things going on. It's season 1 was awesome, but I still think season 2 is going to blow it out of the water.
It was very well played. Just a quick connected question. Will Jordan be suiting up at all, do we think, in next season? Does he become son of Superboy?
I would love to answer that, but I love keeping my job even more.
That's the important thing. That's really what matters. But and like I said, it was a great pleasure to talk to you. You're a lot of fun. Unfortunately, our time is up. What was a lot of me, but it was great talking to you. And like I said, fantastic show. I look forward to next season. And anytime you want to come back and promote something, come right back to the show.
Sounds awesome, man. This is great.
Thank you. Have a fantastic day.
Yeah, see you, Joe.
Bye.
Spaghetti. And we're back.
That's right. We are back. Back in the saddle again. Well, I hope you guys really, really enjoyed that as much as we did making it for you. And if you liked what you heard and you want to hear more, you got to go check out Spoilerverse.com, because at Spoilerverse.com, we have a plethora of amazing directors and artists of all walks of life, and editors and writers. And oh my God, are you a lover of comic books like we are? Then there's so many amazing people from the comic book world over at Spoilerverse.com. And I highly implore you to go there and check it out.
Yeah, and while you're there, you can check out all the other podcasts on our network, like Bridges and Geekdoms and Funny Book Forensics and Haphazard Adventures and Nerds from the Crypt and so many more.
Misery
we put out
Point
episodes
Radio.
all the time. Go check all of them out. And check out all of the reviews and previews and articles we have going up every single day for you. Every day on Spoilerverse.com for you to check out and to read and to love and to like and to comment. We have a store link. You want to help support the site? You can do it 2 ways. One, go to our Patreon, which is patreon.com/spoilercountry. Or go to our store link in the middle of the site there and get a t-shirt, a face mask, a hoodie, something, look fly as hell, and help support the site when you do that, because we get $1 or $2. And, maybe you want to talk to us. If you do, you can do it obviously on all the socials, but if you go to scpod.us/Discord, you can join our public Discord server and come chat with us all day long.
I couldn't say it better myself, dude.
There you go.
You just mouthed out a ton of information at once. And really, I hope you guys enjoy what you're hearing, because we're working our butts off to bring it to you.
We are.
I guess there's only one left thing. Yeah, I'm going to go with it. There's only one left thing left to do.
What's that?
In oceans of podcasts,
We are Cthulhu.
as Cthulhu compels you to
Spaghetti. Open the mind.
and read more.
Spaghetti.